Now, I think this was DoD's map choice to start, Savannah, with the double Ranos lineup against the double Ra. So, Savannah, a wide open map, usually not a lot of safe gold, so definitely a map that favors Ranos' early aggression style of play. So, the Civ pick and the map makes sense for DoD. Now, going back to the scenarios, the first scenario is if DoD wins 2-0 today, they'll get the #1 seed. However, if we get a 1-1 tie, there'll be a coin flip between TSM and DoD to decide the #1 seed in a tie situation, 1-1 today. Reason being that the tiebreakers, they all canceled out. There are a few tiebreakers after just win-loss, but in the case of DoD and TSM, those just will cancel out, so you'll end up with a coin flip there. And then the other scenario, the third scenario, is if MpT wins 2-0, then they'll be in the driver's seat for the #1 seed. They've got one other matchup remaining with TCL, but if they win this 2-0 and then beat TCL 2-0, then MpT will get the #1 seed. So, 3 possible scenarios and 3 possible teams that can get the #1 seed still, so a lot on the line here today. And then the #1 seed guarantees the first round playoff bye, which with these quality teams you don't want to end up having to play the extra match if you don't have to. Alright, so we've got the DoD Ranos players to the right side, and then to the left we've got the MpT Raw players. I'm reading chat, that's what the pause was, but it looks like they're both Raw, so they both can go Pata and get shifting sand, so it looks like they're planning already to double shifting sands one of the opposing players, so they'll be able to knock out 2 Atlantean villagers as soon as they both hit classical. So that'll put one of the DoD players behind significantly. Alright, so now the big thing on a map like this, Savannah, and the reason DoD picked it is typically you can get unlucky gold-wise. However, this variation of Savannah, just off the bat, looks very high in terms of gold. Usually you can sometimes get a version where there are very few gold mines, but just looking off the map to begin with, there's a lot of gold all over the map. And then the other key thing, or the more important factor than the amount of gold, is simply the location of the gold, and the key location being in the back, behind the players, where it's safe, so especially near a second town center. So we see at least 1 mine so far for the MpT players. On the other side, we see 3 back gold mines. So typically maps mirror themselves a lot, so it wouldn't surprise me if we have another mine or 2 back here for MpT. Which they're definitely going to be happy. It's a lot easier to secure gold way back here than it is to have to secure gold out in front of you. So, overall not a bad map for MpT, Savannah-wise. It could have been much worse. What you see here from Count is trying to protect his gold with a house wall. You don't want Termas to be able to get in range and harass and knock you off of gold. That's the easiest way to lose or get in trouble against Atlantean pressure early on, is to get knocked off your gold, and the easiest way for that to happen is to have a forward gold like this. This one's not that bad as he has protection from both towers, but it is forward nonetheless. Whereas if you look at red, his is behind his town center, so typically that's a bit safer of a location, but at the same time, red doesn't have quite as much tower cover. So out here is open near red's mine, but at the same time you can throw up a wall there, and then it's secure in the back as opposed to being out front here. Sometimes you can get a mine that's out front with no tower cover, in which case you've got to be extremely aggressive in protecting that, but starting mines aren't too terrible for MpT. When you build a house wall like that, you can use your Pharaoh Priest, your Wadjet to defend any melee units trying to kill the houses, so it'll take the Atlantean player quite a while before they can actually get through the house wall. You saw blue stacking a lot of villagers on gold here, so without even looking, I can tell he's taking an early second town center, I'm assuming. So you got the shifting sands. That's an extremely nice shifting sands. Usually you'll just get one villager, but to get the 2 Prometheans as well as the villager, that's 180 gold in Prometheans that Teal's just going to pick off for nothing. At the right micro, he won't lose anything. So very nice shifting sands there. And yeah, we did see the early town center coming out from blue. Oh my gosh! Another 2 villagers for Teal. And another Promethean, basically. He's gotta kill. Yeah, the Pharaoh lives. He's gonna need the Pharaoh to finish off that villager, but extremely nice shifting sands out of MpT. I missed the harassment, so my bad as a spectator, but what happened there is, I guess the Wadget? Shifting sands will typically only, it works based on the amount of HP the units it's shifting has. And then I think it also might have like a economic unit versus military unit factor in as well. Teal has to garrison. Okay. If Teal loses this 4th villager, he's pretty much dead. That almost hit it. Teal's already lost 3 villagers this early. He can't afford to lose a 4th. So where are Teal's units? We're 6 minutes 30 seconds in and Teal still doesn't have any units out to Valor. I'm a little confused on what happened there. Even with the shifting sands, he should have had units out to defend against this Wadget harass by now. The low villagers on gold there. We'll see if Bert can find it. If he finds it, this could be bad. He does! Oh my gosh. Very good play from Bert, and I don't know what's up with Teal, but that shouldn't happen. 7 minutes in, a Wadget shouldn't be running around his base killing villagers still. So that's 4 villagers. Teal has lost 5? Did I miss something? I guess I must have missed one observing when the Wadget did an original harass, but I saw 4 confirmed kills, Bert saying 5, so that with the fact that MpT is taking early second town centers, and this game has got to be considered highly in their favor at this point. Any early pressure coming out of Teal is going to be extremely delayed now, so Green does take an early second town center himself though, so he should at least be able to stay even, but Teal losing that many villagers and then being down a town center now on top of it is really going to have a hard time coming back in this game. But going back to the shifting sands, it typically will only take 1 villager if it's full HP, but if you harass another villager and get it down below half health, then there is a chance, depending on how low the second villager is, that instead of shifting 1 villager, you can manage to shift 2. So that's what happened when we saw the shifting sands into Red's base. He was able to get 2 villagers as a result of 1 being low health already. And then again, there's a military component, unit HP component as well with the shifting sands, as we saw 2 Promethean grabbed by blue, and then 2 offspring grabbed by red as well, so. I'm a little surprised red hasn't walled that off. You see the complete wall off from blue already, and blue even got this middle section. I don't know why they haven't closed this gap here, and more importantly, I don't know why red has it closed up here. I can see leaving like holes here near your town center where he's running into tower fire in the town center, but I'm surprised he hasn't closed up this back gap here, especially since it leads right to his gold. Hasn't had to pay for it yet, as the raid and pokes from the DoD players haven't been that strong at this point. plus red's got an army out to deal with any pokes, but if green were to come back here and hit the gold, depending on if he scouted or not, it's open without the wall there. Is red counter raiding, it looks like? Say if he can find those 4 villagers down here, and he's headed right towards them. The heat-seeking missile knows the giraffes are here. I'm sure he scouted the giraffes, so with giraffes comes villagers, and there's no manor to garrison the villagers in, so Teal could lose another 2 villagers right here. He's got Terma nearby, but 5 or 6 Terma aren't going to stop these spears from killing these vills. Red's got to keep his micro up, otherwise the villagers can get away, but there he goes, he's focusing one down. A little confused by the Terma retreat. I'm surprised he's not trying to use the Terma to block the spearmen away from the villagers, but Teal about to lose a 2nd villager. I don't think there's any way he can save it at this point. Another 2 villagers go down from Teal. He's on a 2nd town center at least, but so have his opponents been on 2nd town centers much longer, and they haven't lost the equivalent of 20 villagers. Again, Atlantean villagers are the equivalent of 3 villagers for Egyptians, so I think Teal's lost about 6 or 7 villagers now, so that's looking at 20 villager losses an Egyptian player, just as a comparison. Blue wisely moving out and taking his 3rd town center. Really the only way I could see DoD coming back here is if they were able to get up map control and a town center advantage, but red pushing out looks like he'll try to secure his 3rd as soon as he can. Hasn't sent villagers because the opponent's armies are still there, but blue with the scarabs is going to be especially deadly to Teal. Teal has virtually no army at this point. Really no way of stopping the scarabs. Really like this palace here from green, like I just talked about. In order to get back, DoD needs to take the map control and get up the town center advantage, so fortifying up this town center with a palace like that's going to help him get there. See if he can protect this Vil. Nice shockwave there. Also nice micro, you can see him focusing the spearmen that are harassing the villager. Should have had the villager in passive stance by default to start. He lost a little build time there, but still, it looks like this palace is going to go up. It's a hero villager. It's tankier and builds faster as well. Down to the bottom, looks like blue stopped Teal from taking that town center. No eclipse, which would make these scarabs tear through the town center because they have the shifting sands, but nonetheless, Teal not really protecting his heroes. Bit of miss micro from blue here, letting that scarab get out there on its own without the support, but at the same time, nicely done, taking the 4th town center from blue. He doesn't have the army strength to push in at this point, but he pushed Teal back enough where he was able to get this town center for himself, and Teal's still classical, so he won't be able to take that position back anytime soon, especially not with the mid-goal now going up. Up top though, green with the palace should be able to hold that control. Red's got heroic now with scarabs as well. Green's also sending a decent bit of his army down to the bottom to help Teal out, but we'll have to see what red plans on doing. So red's going mythic, I'm hoping by Osiris. Yes. That's going to give red an extremely, not super early, but actually yeah, this is pretty early. 14 minutes or so in a team game like this. Son of Osiris is going to be extremely effective against Atlantean units without upgrades, especially if green doesn't get any Arcus yet. Green's going to have a hell of a time dealing with that Son of Osiris and even trying to kill it. Meanwhile, without upgrades, green's units are just going to take a ton of damage from the Son of Osiris, so like the fast mythic from red here, especially getting a town, or losing map control. Getting the fast mythic's a good way to take that back. You can rely on the Son of Osiris's super range damage, and then as well as that, start pumping out range siege with the catapults, so that makes it even easier to take down green's forward position, which red needs to do at the moment. Teal pushing out, but again, Teal's so far behind economically, with the villager harass getting knocked off his food, that he's still classical, and without a classical army, you can't even take down this town center, let alone the town center with the mid-goal. So you see the Son of Osiris come out from red here. Green immediately backs off. Also like the side mid-goal, securing his gold, and then also his trade as well. Red pushing in with the Scarabs, trying to force green to fight. Red's trying to micro the Son of Osiris on the birds, but hasn't managed to yet. The Destroyers trying to kill the Scarab is resulting in the slings getting right on the Terma. I think Red was microing it a bit as well, but ideally you'd want the Destroyers on top of the slings to tank the sling fire. Red's still got a Scarab up. You can see green microing the town center to specifically attack the Son of Osiris. And I missed the action down here. It looks like blue was simply able to kill Teal, overpower him, and was starting to push in. So again, that game was pretty much won by the early harassment on Teal. The fact that they got the shifting sands to get 3 villagers instead of 2, and then I think that Wadjet also killed 2 villagers, which was unacceptable from Teal's perspective. Curious to rewatch it because I missed the Wadjet harass. I guess he got 2 villagers, that's what he said at least.